All right, well, I'm joined now by Sky News contributor Kosha Gada. Kosha, Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney is now reportedly looking to be re-elected in his own right, despite the challenge from Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre. I mean, much like here, Trump has overshadowed their campaigns. So how is the Trump factor playing out in Canada's election?
Great to be with you, Shari. It's been a pretty stunning collapse in terms of the polling, where Pierre Poilievre had some 20-point lead just 3 months ago, and it's sort of flipped now where he's 4 points underwater. That's quite remarkable. Some of that consolidation is expected to happen always in polling as you get closer to the date, but the Trump effect is definitely a big part of it. Tariffs, very familiar story right now, big deal for Canada because so much of their economy is reliant on exporting to the US, and he didn't seem to really be able to harness that message and show enough contrast, I think, from the incumbent party. And then the other thing is, I think the Trump effect just has created this external bogeyman that allows the left wing, the Liberal Party, to point to and deflect away from their own issues where they have really not been very popular in recent years under the Trudeau years. So it's given them an escape hatch, if you will. And that seems to be coming into play. And it's sort of been a lifesaver, I think, for that party in being able to flip around the election.
Now, Trump had an historic meeting with Zelensky over the weekend, just one-on-one. They were in Rome for the Pope's funeral. What can you tell us about their meeting and how it did lead to a bolder response from Trump towards Putin?
Yes, it's very interesting. It was reportedly only 15 minutes. I think the iconography and the imagery that's come out of it is something that's going to go down in the history books, because you've got the setting of the Vatican and the two men with their different statures sitting there, and sort of it's a backdrop of peace, if you will. It was also interesting that President Macron of France was meant to be in the meeting and then at the last minute was asked not to be, reportedly, and the empty seat is visible. But it does seem like, we don't know, they haven't given any specifics, but Crimea, which has been an issue where Zelensky and Trump have been at loggerheads about the willingness to, how much of a concession to give Russia on that matter. It sounds like there's been a little bit of headway made in that effect, and maybe that's given Trump the right to go back in a more aggressive stance to Russia. But I think there's a lot of wood to chop left before we see how this story ultimately ends.
Perhaps not having JD Vance in that meeting led to a better outcome for Ukraine as well, right? Kosha Gada, appreciate your time. Thanks so much.